Amor Fati, love your fate. Hey there, my name is Mr. Cătălin and you're listening to I Love Failure, the podcast where I talk to people about professional failures and what they learn from them. The I Love Failure movement started with an idea, to change people's relationship with failure. Since then, we had many sold-out events where people get on stage and talk about professional failures with a room full of people. This week I sit down with Ionut Stanimir. He's the Director of Marketing and Communication in BCR, a leading financial group in Romania. Previously, he was in charge with corporate communication at Erste Group in Vienna. His expertise ranges across strategic brand management of communication, public affairs, reputation management, and crisis communication. He is also the co-founder of BCR InnovX, a top technology startup accelerator program in Romania. He co-founded BCR Money School and BCR Business School, the leading financial education program in Romania.
So Innovix is our footprint into the technology world, into the very advanced technology world where we have people who design low range satellites and who are part of Innovix. So it's really high tech there. With the Imperiul Eilor or Lion's Den, as it's called in English, it's part of our business education effort.
Before we begin this week's episode, I would like to thank MySpace for hosting this podcast. If you're looking for flexible office spaces for companies of any size, MySpace is the place for you. Also, if you want to support the I Love Failure movement, you can go to ilovefailure.co/support. That's ilovefailure.co/support, where you can become a Patreon or buy cool merchandise. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hello, Ionut. Thank you. Thanks for coming to the show.
It's great to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your career, how you got to do what you're doing?
Sure.
And maybe tell us a failure that you encountered, if you had any in your life.
Okay. So I started very, very early. Actually, I was starting work in my second year of faculty. By working with the PR and communication advisory in Bucharest, and at some point we were hunting for clients, and I happened to write to an email to the CEO of a big banking group which was coming to Romania, and asking him, well, I heard you're coming to Romania, maybe you need a communication advisor.
Really?
Absolutely. And he passed the email further, in his team, and that email reached many more people, and finally it ended up with the communication office, which said, we think you're very determined, so we'd like to see you. And that was a fantastic chance, because after advising them 2 years, they asked me to come in Vienna and work for them there. So with Erste Group in Vienna, I stayed there 3 years and a half and returned here in Bucharest in 2010. A period of it was not an easy period in Romania. It was really in the midst of the crisis. But it was really a learning experience for me. I always say a rough sea makes a skillful sailor, and I like that very much. Then slowly somehow I got promoted, and of course I enjoyed what I did, and had some success, and now I'm heading marketing and communication in Banca Comercială Română. And that's the formal title. There in the team we do all kind of things which are not in the manual of marketing and communication. But if I were to be honest, I would say that manuals get obsolete already 1 year after they are being written. So I would say that anybody who guides their career after the manual written 5 years ago, they are not doing what they should be doing. What I mean here is actually, obviously we live in a period when designing your role and responsibility, irrespective where you are, is a much more open and flexible decision than it was in the past. So that's why in at least in our team, in my team in BCR, we do all kind of crazy and creative stuff, and and we are allowed by the board and the CEO to do that.
Yeah, this is a question that I'm really curious about. When did this openness from the top level of the banks, like all the banks are innovating, are trying, are doing, so something happened, and I think it has something to do with Revolut and startups who really push the limit and they see it as a danger. Did that start this whole movement where they are more,
Well, that's a very good question, and the very simple answer is, of course, we are scared by the fintechs. I mean, everybody is scared by a disruptor which will change their industry forever.
Yeah.
But like we say in a Romanian proverb, when you're scared, you guard your melons even better. So that's how it works. Also with us, it's clear that innovation and digitalization to the core, not having a YouTube channel is not digitalization. It's opening to digitalization. That's how it impacts the industries nowadays. With us, it actually started in Vienna, where the CEO of the group at that time hired a car designer to design the new internet banking platform of Erste Group, which was called George. Why is it called George? I want to tell you the story. George comes from a famous saying in aviation, where pilots say, "Let George do it." What is George? It's actually the autopilot in the aviation industry. It's a an acronym referring to geographical orientation. So
we were convinced that it's Romanian and it's about.
No, it's not Romanian. Although Romanians did work for the development of it. We had the Romanian programmers working in George Labs in Vienna, just as we had psychologists, designers, sociologists, and financial specialists. It's a new breed of animal in the banking realm, and it's clear it's the response of the banks to the needs of the people. Nevertheless, what I want to tell you, when a bank of such size, when a group with 17 million customers decides to radically change their digital banking platform, it's not like they open a Facebook page. Yeah. They are changing fundamentally their business. They are fundamentally changing the way they present, they distribute, the way they communicate with their customers. So it's a deep intervention, which in Romania has been taken even further, and I'm proud to say that.
But this change has to also change to be reflected in the people. So most people, especially in the banks, they do not want to rock the boat. I mean, they are so much afraid of failure, trying things, because in the old days we spent a lot of time. This is the hierarchy. This is your place. Don't move to the left. Don't move to the right. So this fear of failure is something embedded in the companies. It's a very hard process, even if it comes from from the CEO. They are still, in my experience, very shy about doing things that are outside of.
Sure. Now let's discuss a bit about that. It comes with ups and downs, and in periods there are periods when it counts to be conservative, and there are periods when it counts to be very, very dynamic. Now, I think also with the history and context of banks in this part of Europe, in Eastern Europe, you always had to show to be very solid, very safe, very reliable, very
Don't make sudden moves.
Don't make
that's
sudden.
My money.
That's my money. Exactly. I mean, the relationship with money in this part of Europe and in Romania, where people lost a lot of money when depositing to various creative banks. Is not something which you want to, jump without thinking about it. Now, it's also one thing when you have 1,000 customers. It's another thing when you have 3 million customers. Various profiles. When we work with the young, dynamic, we also work with mature conservatives. So we have to find that middle ground, and it's part of an education program. Now, in terms of hierarchies, I think what matters most is one thing and one thing only. Really one thing. How open you are to the requests of your clients, and how open you are to learn from your competitors. For us, the competition is not the other yellow or blue or red or orange bank. For us, the competitors is online retailers, telecoms, telemedicine, urban electric transport, everybody, because we are in a service industry. And in a service industry, one thing and one thing matters: availability and reliability. And then you look at your customers and they ask you, can we do this online? Can we chat with you? Can you solve this problem in social media? I have an issue which I need you to solve via WhatsApp. It's clear it's their need, and you have to respond to that. And when you see the service standards redefined in so many other service industries, then you slowly realize that you have to change inside. And of course that's never easy, but at the end of the day, if you look at that with a good heart and an open heart, because everybody wants at the end of the day to be professional, to be respected, and it's a simple judgment. Do you want to be professional and respected in your job? Yes. What do you have to do? Listen to your customers and see what the competition is doing. And if you have that good faith to answer to those three requests, one of your own identity as an employee and two of the market realities, I think you will be successful. And I think even conservative companies can transform.
Yeah, of course. The problem from the inside, I'm talking like a normal guy in the business, not the top, because I know that the top are very well intentioned, but the small guy in the company, like a developer or whatever, who's trying to do something, he says, look, I'm gonna do this. If I fail, I'm fucked, basically. That's what's happening. If I succeed, the manager takes the credit. So to reach down like to the core, to the real people, they have to see, that, look, these guys are real about this and they really respect this, and this is happening. So I think that's the very big challenge for.
Okay, what do I think out of that? Yeah. Well, I think the one thing and one thing only. Change the company. I mean, look at those companies where the boss doesn't take the credit for work which somebody else does. Look at those companies where if you fail, it's not the end of the road, but it's a great opportunity to learn. And change the company. Move to those companies which encourage you to do that, because it's like the Darwinian world also in the digital realm. You are either respond to the realities and will be successful, or don't, and you will slowly, be obsolete and irrelevant. Yeah. I am absolutely not sorry for those companies, irrespective of their history and legacy and tradition and whatever, that fail to do that. And sorry, that's the rule of the game. Now. I also think there is one other aspect which should be taken into consideration, and that is managing expectations. So you are a programmer or a product designer in a startup. It's obvious that you are going to reach a minimum viable product much faster than if you would be in a multinational. That's clear. The question is how many people you will impact with that product. And being a startup at the beginning of the road, it's obviously there is a long path until you reach 1 million customers. Okay? Being in a multinational on the other side, on a big company with big resources, it will take you longer, and it's clear that it's going to take you longer because there are so many aspects to be taken into consideration. But when you will reach an impact, you will reach 3 million customers. So I think it depends. I think it really depends on how you look at it. What do you prioritize for yourself as being the most important? And how do you build the patience either to reach 3 million people or to reach a product development in 3 months? Now, I am proud to say that we are working on that. We have a whole division which is called the Transformation Office of BCR. I think today we're running about 9 digital labs which are working in an agile way in product development and putting, as we speak, 100% online journeys for products such as lending, insurance, card usage,
So these are your innovation labs where you try things, where it's sort of like startups with project managers, something like that.
I would tell that it's really the transformation labs. It's not only the nice toys where when somebody comes into our company, we run them through the innovation labs and everybody says, "Oh, this is so nice." No, this is the places where we have deep arguments. Should we do this? No, we should not. Yes, we should. Why? So, this is places where people have healthy conflicts. And when you have that, it's clear that it's serious.
Yeah, it is. Now, Innovix is something that nobody expected, especially from BCR. So, how does that work? If a startup comes to Innovix, what does it expect? Are you going to help us? Are you going to take some equity? Are you going to invest in us? Of course, are you going to steal our ideas if you're, working with a bank? These are questions from entrepreneurs all the time.
Okay, so first of all, I have to say that the Innovix idea started because of great partners which we had. It was Mindspace who was opening at the time the locations in Bucharest, and we were talking with them. Maybe we can have some branding, and they said, "Well, maybe if you want to show how a partnership with the bank works, come in Tel Aviv and have a look." And we said, "Oh, come to Tel Aviv, of course." And we went there and saw that Barclays was running really a partnership with an accelerator there, and we said we want to do this. So the idea started in Tel Aviv. And then when we returned back, we were just so happy to find the right partner, which was Innovix. Innovix is an association which was thinking of building such a product. And Daniel Dumitrescu and Diana Dumitrescu are the team which are really the heart and souls of the accelerator, together with Alex Mihalciuc from UiPath, which are also a partner in the project, Bogdan Manoiu, who is also a successful entrepreneur and thought of passing on this, partners from Microsoft, which are putting their technology, their cloud technology at our disposal. So first of all, it's a very serious project. It has a solid bank, it has a solid team, it has solid partners, and it has a very nice location. So that works. But it's a non-equity accelerator. It's a non-equity accelerator because first we said, let's do it like this, see what the response is, and the response was, quite encouraging. Why? It seems that in this part of the world, people first want to know what's theirs, be helped towards that, and only afterwards seek really the opportunity for investors.
So at the end, do they pitch to investors? Because most accelerators at the end you pitch to investors, maybe you get some financing. What's happening after the? Okay,
I am very proud to say that you pitch to 4 categories of people in BCR InnovX. Number 1, you first pitch to the jury for being accepted. The entry into BCR InnovX is really tough as in we don't joke. I'm also proud to say that we rejected companies which afterwards got financing. And that's just fine, because we said, okay,
you have your values, you have your ideas.
You have your values, you have your ideas. It's not yet fully developed. Come later. They manage then to get some money. That's just fine.
So it's not very early stage companies.
It's in the middle. But of course, we run three groups of accelerated business. Some of them are having a turnover and up to 100,000 euros. Some of them up to 1 million euros, and all the rest from 1 million onwards. But I was telling you about the pitches. So first you have to pitch to the jury. Then you have to pitch to the BCR board. Within the project, we do an elevator pitch, where people actually get into an elevator. They are being broadcasted to the board room of BCR, and they are doing their pitch in 1 minute.
Whoa.
And then come to the question session with the board. So that's the second, and that it's the most spectacular, so to say. I don't know if it's the most useful, but definitely it's the most spectacular.
It's exciting. Sounds good. Yeah.
And many of them actually appreciate in having this discussion with the board, because it's very senior people asking very senior questions. So it's a rehearsal, so to say. Then they have the pitch to clients of BCR. So one key commitment which we make in the accelerator is that we will take the startups and either try to englobate their solution or present them to clients of ours. So we take energy optimization to energy clients. We took food and nutrition to health and pharma companies. We took industrial optimization to manufacturing clients. And that is
you do the matching, which is
we do the matching. We do the matching, and that is fantastic for them. It's fantastic for us because we can show added value, and it's fantastic for those who can get, solutions which are designed and made in Romania. And that's the third thing. And fourth, and not last, of course, they pitch to investors. We make the demo days at the final of the accelerator.
And the investors, sometimes is BCR also one of the, or you don't invest?
No, we are not. We are a supporter of the accelerator. We are not an investment fund yet. But we work with those investment funds which can make a bid to those companies.
So you help them all the way to the investors, but you're not investing yourselves.
But we are profiting. We are not investing, but we are profiting. Of course, we are profiting because we are learning. We are profiting because some of the solutions help us. We are profiting because it also
that energy also comes to you. Yeah.
We take senior directors from across the bank in product, sales, legal, procurement, property, marketing and communication, of course, the entire board, and they are mentors. They are mentors in the accelerator. So it's not like we put our logo there and say, okay, this is done and bye bye. It's an effort which we integrate within our running every day. And some of the solution, of course, we use them. We use the marketing solution. We use the learning solution. We are soon going to launch a marketplace solution. So
that's great. That's great for the startups. And I also have seen you. I also pitched on Lions Imperial. Lions Den, Shark Tank, Romania Shark Tank, and I've seen that you are also involved in that process. So what's there? You sponsored the show. What was your involvement? I see you teaching startups at the end. I think it was you and somebody else.
Yeah. So Innovix is our footprint into the technology world, into the very advanced technology world where we have people who design low range satellites and we're part of Innovix. So it's really high tech there. With the Imperial Ailor or Lions Den, as it's called in English, it's part of our business education effort. We have designed a platform which actually is meant to help entrepreneurs understand and manage their finance, their marketing and sales soon to be. And of course how to run their business. Basically, it's part of our education program. It's not only for BCR clients. We think actually education should be a commodity. Education, all the things that we learned in 30 years since we finance companies and people should be available to everybody. And everybody should decide who is a good advisor. And if they decide that BCR is a good advisor, I am just happy to, for them to come and say, I checked you and I checked you, and out of you, you are the best. And I am just fine. I can give you just one example. In 30 years, we never told companies why we approve or why we reject their loan. It's like a banking altar. The doors close and then nobody knows. Somebody, the machine spits out the result. Your loan is approved or not. And then people said, I want to understand. Maybe it's something I should improve. Maybe, please tell me. Well, we can't, and so on. And we said, no, let's open up exactly with those factors which we take into consideration when making a loan. And we just published, a guide which is part of our education program, and said there are 7 things which we look at when we lend. These are the 7 things. Read them, and if you have questions, call us. So, that's it's business education. You were asking about the show. It's business education.
Business education.
Right. You have to do edutainment.
Yeah, I thought you were, invested in that also, and trying to, I'm talking, my perspective is from the street. So what we see from the outside, that's why it's nice to talk. And I've seen Innovix around, and so the mentors you say there are mostly corporate, like from the company.
From our side, there are people who run the business every day, but we also have mentors from outside BCR, because Innovix is an independent project which is supported heavily by BCR, but it is run as an independent project, and that means they work with people who have, who are strategy consultants, legal consultants, marketing consultants. They run a curricula of coming from MIT. They run a curricula based on Blue Ocean strategy, which is, I think it was created in INSEAD. It's a very serious program, again, with very serious partners, very serious mentors. If you make it through Innovix, then it means you are somebody. I'm happy to say that.
That's great. Now, on a more personal level, if you want, what do you think it was your, biggest fuck up or failure that you had in, not biggest, but the one most impactful, if you have something?
Well,
it could be a project, it could be something personal, whatever.
I must say one thing.
I don't fail.
I'm not an entrepreneur. This is one thing where I fail. I'm not an entrepreneur. I failed.
No, but really, the comfort of the job, on doing the things, you're sort of an entrepreneur. If you can do whatever you want, because this is what all we want. So you seem to have the freedom inside your company to do things that we cannot do, like entrepreneurs.
Okay. Now, what I wanted to tell. I don't think I ever had such a spectacular failure where I bet the house, because I'm not in the position to bet the house, because it's not my house. And I want to be very honest about that. So all the bets I took about like my career as an employee. So you can make smaller or bigger or daring or less daring bets, and sometimes you are going to fail. Now, as an employee, there are various situations where you do bet an idea or your credential or your reputation, and it can go either way, because it depends. It's a complex environment, and that's a good thing. I think every entrepreneur should be aware, or should think that they will sometime be a big company, and as a big company you'll have to deal with complex issues. So I had to do with the management issues. I had to do with the people issue, and I had to do with budget issues. And there were things where I think I could have done better, and I learned my thing. One notorious situation for me was when I was working with a very, very tough guy who was the CEO of the company, and I think I made an inappropriate joke about. It was not about him, but it was about the situation, and that sort of exploded in my face. And I don't think I wouldn't call it just trivial, because it was not only a joke. Later I had a deep conflict with the person, and
of course the conflict started. You kind of tell the truth through a joke. You're trying. This is how we all do it.
But that conflict was one of the most formative conflicts for me. in understanding a couple of things. I understood that when the situation is serious and tough, it might be better to listen what are the priorities of the people in charge, instead of just presenting what you think is good.
Yeah.
You might be well-intentioned, you might even be right. But if it's not on the priority of the people in charge, you could be wrong.
And don't push it. Like
Don't push it.
Yeah.
When that kind of thing happens, it also sort of teaches you how to set priorities, how to see clearly, how to understand the bigger scheme of things, and that kind of things. That also made me get another lesson, and the other lesson was how to deal with your team in moments of stress. Now at that time, we were running a restructuring program which finally saw our company decrease by 2,500 people out of I think 8,000. So it was
that's a lot.
That's really it was almost 30%. And of course the tension was high in the company, and that tension I sort of kept it for myself and hidden it from the team, which partly was good but partly was very wrong. And it was very wrong because if you would like to truly run a team, and you would like them to also become skillful sailors on rough seas, and if you would also like them to realize the whole picture and build their resilience and so on, you don't play hero.
Yeah, you let them fight.
Yeah, you play mentor, and you say, this is the situation, this is what we all have to do, this is what we all have to confront, and finally who's in and who's out for the fight. That was another big lesson coming from a management failure. I was very young. I thought I was doing it the right way, but I don't think I did it the right way. Elsewhere, I think it had to do with priorities which you set, and some of the bets you make are going to fail. I also made big bets which failed, and what comes out of that, because I think we should glorify failure always and inextricably linked to learning. What did you learn immediately, and how deep was that learning? And when you make wrong bets, budgetary bets, I think you should look immediately at what you can do to minimize the damage. Act very fast and be very open about the fact that it has gone wrong.
Yeah, I think you would be very good as a trainer on the navigating people stuff, which is very important. Like startups are very, very bad at managing their teams, and they get into conflict, all the time. They're under pressure, and conflict under pressure, it's a huge thing. And having your experience, you can, help them, give them advice in that situation, because nobody gives advice in that situation. And it's a very important thing to learn.
You know what I think? I think the biggest barrier to our success,
and also to listen to the other guys. That's unbelievable. Nobody listens to what other people are saying.
That's exactly what I wanted to tell you. I think one of the biggest barriers is fear. We don't always call it fear. We call it ego, we call it I'm right, you're right, we call it conflict, we call it I don't know what. But at the root of everything stands a pure feeling which is called fear. Fear of not being obsolete, of not being pushed aside, of not being irrelevant, of not being stupid, of not being condemned. And that is in complex environments.
Fear of failure, basically.
Fear of failure, yeah. It gets to you, and then you start to act.
Yeah.
I am not afraid. I am right. I am not afraid. I did the right thing. I am not afraid. I thought it is going to be better. And the single the single medicine to tackle fear, I don't think it's the single medicine. I think there are two medicines. I will talk about one more and one less. It depends on the person. There are two antidotes to fear. One is transparency and the other is love, and I will call it exactly like that. Transparency always clears any kind of bullshit from the table. You just say, I am here and I am going to do that, and everybody should know it, and if you condemn it, that's absolutely no problem, because I have this good faith in telling you from the beginning what am I going to do. And that's a lesson it's a lesson one of my bosses taught me, that you should never surprise your allies. And I thought, you never surprise your allies, that's why you're allies. But it's not true. It's actually one of the things which happens most often. Lack of transparency gets to lack of trust, and then it gets to fear. What is he trying to do? Is he going to put me in danger? No.
Their mind goes crazy.
And their mind goes crazy, and your mind goes crazy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that is one thing. Think very good, and that's a how to say, that's a very risky bet to make, to be completely transparent. It's not an easy bet to make.
Of course, it's not. Being vulnerable and open, it's something that nobody likes or does, especially in Romania. So.
And then the other thing which I told you I'm going to speak maybe less, it's love. Love, it's the law of attraction. Look into your soul and be very honest. What are you attracted of? And if you follow that attraction, I am attracted towards working with people. That's just fine. Tell them you are attracted to that. Tell them that you like to work with them. And people will see, how to say, what you want to build out of that law of attraction, so to say. When people will see what you want to push forward, how you want to put them into the good light, what you want to build, I think they will realize that it's not something against them, but it's something where you feel, like you feel yourself and you feel attracted and you want to build. So I think these two, and in the combination, like when we used to be kids and took those pills, which half was yellow and half was red, when we were having a cold, I think this antidote of transparency and love can overcome really even the most conservative company and even the toughest situation. The only thing is that you have to be resilient and say, this is what I stand for. Everybody should know what am I attracted to and what am I going to do in 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year. And if you can keep your head, then it's going to work fine. That's
very good advice. So this one and the other one, to be mindful about other people's, what other people want to do and not to push against them, and take notes, because when I worked in a corporation, I learned to navigate those people, and I knew, okay, that guy wants it like that guy, and you know how to go about it but in a graceful way, like you don't have to push. And
yes, I think this is one of the first question any coach will ask you. How do others feel? How do you think others feel when you do that?
Yeah. Right.
Whatever you think you are doing, and it's something you should do. And that is just a great question, because if you look at the prerequisites of somebody being satisfied with their role and their job, psychological safety comes, first. Yeah. And I'm not talking about safety like nothing will happen, but having the feeling that whatever they do, they will be free to be themselves, to say their opinion, to follow their interests, and so on. And I think it makes part of the complexity which everybody in a company learns. And I think it's a great lesson for an entrepreneur.
Of course,
managing complexity. That's where I saw many people fail.
Yes, true. Okay, I have a question here, which is, I kind of always ask this because I'm very curious, is do you believe in luck when it comes to, I don't know, entrepreneurship, life, circumstances? How do you see luck as part of the whole picture for you?
Well, I'm a trained sociologist. As a trained sociologist, I look at events and the sort of interaction, and I can definitely tell you that luck exists. It's a conjuncture of favorable factors.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you that luck exists for everybody. I mean, sometimes you have a good day, and sometimes you don't have a good day, and things can turn out better or worse. Nevertheless, when you are running a startup, when you are running a project, or when you are running any kind of initiative, I think what matters 99% is discipline. Even the discipline of creating the favorable circumstances, which we call luck. What does it mean? If your project, your initiative, your startup, your company, or whatever you run needs certain factors, certain people, certain situations, then I don't think you have to wait for those people, situations, factors to come to your way, but rather ask yourself, who do I need? Where are they? What are they interested in? And go and spend most of your time there where the people you need are, and be prepared to answer to their needs. For example, we always say, but I don't know that somebody, and so on and so forth. Or I don't know, who can open a door for me, and these kind of things. So be very disciplined about those factors, about those people and the resources which you need, and discipline yourself to be around and to open doors, to always connect to those situations and opportunities. For example, let me tell you about this. I think we were very lucky that Mindspace came into Romania. I think we were very lucky that they were having a project in Tel Aviv with Barclays, a bank which I kind of like. I think it's what our bank can be as a sort of comparison. I think we were very lucky that the team in Romania was looking to build such a project.
So circumstances met with whatever you wanted to do.
But we looked for that. We looked for that. We were asking, what are the new spaces in town?
Paying attention to what's happening.
Exactly. And then we met somebody, and somebody said, come to Tel Aviv. And I could say, well, my boss doesn't really agree that I go in exotic places for business trips. No, I said, if somebody asks me why did I travel to Tel Aviv, I can tell them exactly, I want to have a look at this model, and so on. So you always have to be intentional about your luck. Luck does exist because there are so many factors.
Pass
Absolutely.
by. Yeah.
There are so many factors in this complex world which interact in a way that sometimes is lucky and sometimes is unlucky. That's absolutely clear. Come on, it's beyond us.
There's nothing you can do, like Corona, and you have an events company I had. So
you have an events company, or you have a video conference company. Yeah. So one man's bad luck, it's another man's luck, but you just have to be intentional about what kind of luck you want to have, and how to say. I never worry about parking places. I never worry. I always find a parking place. But
it's in Bucharest. It's really hard.
I just think I am going to find a place in a corner where nobody thought parking is possible, and then I find it. So
that's optimism.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
It's a great mindset.
It's a sort of when you think I will get lucky, you are preparing yourself to get lucky. That's getting lucky in business. I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah. It's important. Okay, so if you have some books that you want to recommend, it would be great for us.
Okay, I must say, I read various stuff. I read things which are very, very different. And at the end of the day, the only thing which matters is if you're intentional about learning about those. For startups, I think I could recommend some books. One great book I can recommend is Exponential Organization. It has been written a while ago, so I was telling you about orienting yourself after last year's manual. So now I'm recommending a book which was written in 2014, but I think it's a relevant book.
If the principles are sound, of course.
The principles are sound. It's an exponential organization, and it talks about the commodization of everything and what you can do to multiply actually your added value. It's written by this guy Salim Ismail, who is absolutely one of the top thinkers I'm following, and you can learn a lot. The second thing I do, I read The Economist. The Economist, I read it every week because it's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of the world distilled by very experienced people, and you can see where things are going. And then let me tell you also about one, this martial arts books. Everybody says, you can learn a lot from art of war, and I don't know. And I think you can, at the end of the day, you can make of any book a good read. The last such book I read was the Book of Five Rings, and it was written by a samurai master in the 17th century. And I think a couple of things stayed with me, like it follows. For example, it said, be careful when you pull out your sword, because the purpose is not to pull it out, it's to cut. So what does it mean? How did I read it? If you take a course of an action, think of that action until the last consequence of it. Because that's how things run. You start something,
yes.
And if you stop in the middle of it, then you'll not succeed, whatever your purpose was.
Good advice.
It was. I mean, it sounds like a bit drastic. It's a martial arts book. It speaks about swords and that kind of things. But I think it was. It really taught me to think exactly where do you want to get when you start something. Or, I can tell you the principle of the book. So the principle of the book is the flexible mind. It says, whenever you are fixed onto your adversary, you are already wrong.
Yeah.
If you're fixed on his feet, his hand, his sword, or his eyes, you're wrong. You must not focus on a fixed point. Your mind must be flexible to anticipate the whole process, so to say, in whatever that it happens. So I think at the end of the day, just anything you read, hear, see, which transforms into a learning experience, is just what people should follow.
Okay, so this is it for now. Thank you very much for coming, and see you soon, and good luck with your ventures.
Okay, thanks a lot. I want to wish good luck to everybody who is listening. I hope the events industry will soon
we all hope that
recover, because at the end of the day, I think even for speaking about learning, I think the events industry is a learning industry for me, or at least that's how
of course for
it.
Me too. Yeah, it was great. I do a lot of events, and it's brutal to do them online on Zoom. It sucks so much.
Yeah, but let's encourage everybody to learn out of every situation, and just be intentional about their luck.
Yeah, great advice. Thanks for coming, man.